checking account? Shouldn't it be you? Funds privately insured by American Share Insurance.
Come celebrate leadership, service, and student success at Crystal Ray St. Viator's Executive of the Year Luncheon. Join us on March 11th from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Rio Hotel and Casino for an inspiring afternoon honoring Tony F. Sanchez III of NV Energy as Executive of the Year and Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada as a Business Partner of the Year. Enjoy lunch, meaningful stories, and a chance to support hardworking students preparing for college and careers. Secure your seat today and be part of something powerful by visiting crystalraysaintviator.org.
From birthdays to business meetings.
What's happening, bricklayers? Hope your weekend was good, fun, entertaining. We're ready to roll. Danny in for Clay today.
633.
Clay, Danny, did we get those?
Has found its lead for Elite Raiders.
Okay.
This is Nation Radio 928 for the Las Vegas. RL Las Vegas. It's the JT the Break Show. This is the Silver and Black. This is the Raiders. This is a historic franchise. This is no ordinary job. Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
I don't care if I offend somebody. If it isn't right, I'm going to stop practice. We're going to do it the right way.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we begin, we kick it off here, and we're ready to roll. As I cannot hear myself, but we'll figure this out and get us rolling. There we go. Hope everyone's good. Let's get rolling this week. It is a big week. Yes, it is Mendoza Monday. It is Mendoza Monday. We will talk about Fernando Mendoza every Monday, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, wherever we are, Backyard Brick, in the house with you live, whatever we're doing. You better believe we're embracing Fernando Mendoza, and we're going to do that with all of our proud partners. I hope you had a great weekend. As we open up the show here, I had an amazing, incredible Las Vegas sports weekend, and I will dive into that. Oh, yeah, there'll be some name drop alerts today. I'll be dropping names like dropping dimes. Steph Curry today on everything that I saw this weekend, which was truly amazing. It was 83 degrees. God, I did a big 4-hour radio show. I played golf at Spanish Trails. I hung out with Reggie Jackson. I sat down and broke bread with Maxx Crosby, hung out with the owner of the Raiders last night, Mark Davis, and was on the field for rugby. On the field for rugby, which was really cool. So I had a good weekend. I hope yours was better than mine. I hope it was good overall. There's a lot going on in the world right now. A lot going on in the world right now. That's why we love sports. We don't have to talk about things. We can kind of disappear and dive into sports. Also, we're going to dive into all of sports. Every once in a while, I think I have to reset and remind everybody we want to talk sports on sports radio, especially in March, April, May, June, July, and August. That's 6 months that I got to fill. 6 months without football games. And I'm going to talk sports from the NBA to the Golden Knights to March Madness. Welcome to the madness of March. We own that brand in Vegas. As the Fraternal Order of the Men in Khaki Pants are ready to come on out here. They're ready to come on out here and have a good time and treat our customers well. I said that last year. I'm going to say it again. This year, to me, is critical that the casino operators, the people in town, from the people that are getting your bags from your airplane to the carousel, from the cab drivers and Lyft drivers and Ubers that are getting you to your resort property, to the individuals at the front desk who make sure you have a pleasant experience. This is March Madness. Everybody get your crap together and run Vegas the way it used to be run. Efficiently, with smiles, perks, and make our visitors feel like they're wanted, because they haven't felt like they've been wanted in quite some time. I know this because I live here. I have tons of friends in the casino business and in all the businesses and hospitality here in town. I mean, God, listen to our show. No one has more hospitality customers and clients than we do. And everybody knows it's time. It's time to get Vegas hopping again. And a lot of that has to do with price. It has to do with service or price. That's it. Things are going to be expensive. It's 2026. Vegas is relatively expensive, not to live here, but to visit. It's expensive to visit here. So when you jump in and you come to Vegas, you want to get more bang for your buck. And it's hard to do that if you're charging $17 for a bottle of water when a couple's hungover because they went to a nightclub till 3 a.m. and they come to their room and they have cotton mouth in the morning and they want to get a drink and you're charging them $17 for a bottle of water. Enough of that nonsense. All right, let people come to your pools and don't charge $300 for a case of beer. Okay, treat people the way they should be treated. Give them a comp if they're gambling. Give them a comp. Take care of the people here in Vegas because that's what this great city is based on. Good, that was fun doing that. We're brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue, 5 to 7, midnight to 2, the best happy hour in town. So, I've been online a little bit today. If you follow me on X, you see what I'm talking about before the show. We're also live on YouTube, and we appreciate that. We're kind of slowly we're adding more and more subscribers because we don't do much on YouTube other than this show, but I'm going to do more. I made that commitment to all the bricklayers and the people who are here. Everybody can watch the show, listen to the show, and God forbid if there's any technical issues, you can find it on YouTube, and I promise you that's normally running on time and on budget as we open up the show. So what's happening here is I'm trying not to get dragged into this Maxx Crosby conversation. I'm trying not to get pulled into it because of all the fake news and the stupidity around this topic. And I told you about that. I was clipped by a website that put it out there, and I think they got it accurately. I don't mind when people say what I say, and then they just transcribe it and put it out. That doesn't hurt. You know, I got to remember every time that the camera's on or the microphone's on, whatever I say, I got to remember it could stay with me. So I'm very careful with what I say. So on Friday, I was the MC for the Commitment to Excellence Awards out in Summerlin for Maxx Crosby. And Max was there along with his agent and his wife, and they had a nice table of friends. And I spent some quality time with Max. Before the event, during the event, I sat with him at the event for a while, and we had good conversations. Not breaking news stuff, not about where he's going, how much he loves. I know he loves the team. He has the team tattooed on his chest. I know that already. So I don't have to start with, can I have a selfie? Can you tell me if you're going to say? We don't do that. We're well beyond that. I can also tell you I have breaking news. As I sat with Max for over an hour, just me and him, Rachel and my wife, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Jay Glazer, Diana Rossini, and Jeremy Fowler were not at the table with me as the salads and the meal got served. I was the only guy there. Me. Nobody else. No Raider insiders there, no Raider radio host, no, just me, my wife, Max, his wife, and we had a great conversation about kids, life, Vegas, him healing, all of that stuff. So I got nothing to tell you, and I was there. I have more access than all these people. But I can tell you this for sure from talking with Max, mostly just as friends, is that no one else is talking to him. He's not talking to anybody. So all the people out there that are throwing up fake trades, they have no access to Maxx Crosby, none. Now, I'm not saying they don't have access to his agent or they don't have access in the building to, someone within the building on John Spytek's staff. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying, yeah, you're right on the chat. Adam Schefter didn't say to my wife, pass the butter, as he joined in and got in the conversation. And Adam's the best in the business, and he's very good at this. So Max had a pleasant night. He needed to be out at a certain time. I got him out at that certain time on the dot. And he laughed about it, gave me a hug and said, wow. Matter of fact, I can't tell you what he said about that because it had to do with former coaches' clock management. Why don't we leave it at that? The last thing that Max said to me as he was hugging me had to do about my clock management, which is a little bit better than other people's clock management who he worked with. So we laughed about that, and it was a fun night, and he got his 5th consecutive Commitment to Excellence Award, and he was in a really good place. First time really off his crutches. He stood up there. He thanked his inner circle, his agent, coaches, and friends who really put him in a good situation to be who he needs to be. So that's it on Max. It was nice. He wasn't at the Combine. He wasn't in a nightclub. He was with Raider Nation and Raider fans. Also, when Tim Brown walked in, and I introduced Tim Brown, I noticed that Max really got into that. He looked at his table like, wow, Mr. Raider is here, Tim Brown. along with Rich Ganning, who was there. Current coach Justin Fargas, who won the award. Teo Johnson, Jay Schrader, Greg Townsend, the all-time sack leader, was there, along with a lot of the Raiders staff. A lot of the Raiders staff who were there, vice presidents and chiefs of the team. They were all there having a good time. But most importantly, it was a fan event. Hanging out with Gorilla Rilla and Violator and their wives and so many other fans from booster clubs, smoking a cigar out back with some really cool people. And we had a beautiful night. My wife ended up taking a centerpiece home of beautiful flowers, and we stayed up, and we were just like, my wife had such a good time talking to Rachel Crosby about Rachel, a younger wife, right? They're younger than us, about kids and life and what's going on and moving and where they're living out here. It was just nice to have that, kind of conversation with Maxx, which wasn't dramatic. Now, a lot of people are running around here wanting to be included on this conversation. I don't got a problem with that. I just spent 9 minutes talking about Maxx and really didn't have much, right? Other than some name dropping and our wives get along nice. But the other people who are at the combine and the other people who are trying to break news today are out there, and they're doing this on purpose because, as I said accurately, if you don't have an opinion on Maxx Crosby, you shouldn't be on the radio. You got to have an opinion on him. Either you think he's going to get traded or he's not. I don't believe he will get traded, but I understand he could. So what is my opinion? I'm in the camp along with John Spytek and Clint Kubiak, who both said they don't have an intention of trading him. What did he just say? The coach and the GM at the combine both said that their intention is to keep Maxx. They love him. He's a great player. John Spytek said multiple times that no doubt he is the type of guy you want to keep. You want to be in the business of having good players. Here's the general manager, John Spytek, at the combine in Indianapolis.
I am. Maxx is an elite player, and I've been very upfront from the start when I got here that we're in the business of having really good players on the team, and we need a lot more of them. And it's hard to build a great team without elite players.
All right, so to me, that's the most important soundbite of everything. That's the one. Not the guys who came on the Pat McAfee show. Raheem Mostert, who played with Maxx, did the car wash today. He was on NFL Network. He was on Fox, and he basically had nothing to say, just that Maxx loves being a Raider, but he doesn't know anything either. So that was it. But when John Spytek went to the podium, and I thought he did a really good job. John Spytek's had a good couple of weeks here. If you look at the press conference of Clint Kubiak with all the legends behind him, which I thought he handled well and had to answer questions. And then what he did at the combine, when he got on the podium that everybody was going to start firing away on Maxx Crosby, I thought he handled it well. So that's the line that everybody needs to know. So unless John Spytek is telling other NFL insiders or some of the other housewives who want to break news that he knows something that Maxx doesn't know, or I don't know what you don't know, I doubt that. He wants to keep his great players. So what is the biggest soundbite we've had throughout the Maxx Crosby noise? And there is noise. Vinny Bonsignore put it out on Twitter. There is noise. And I also agree. Vinny's one of the most connected Raider insiders. When Vinny, I don't want to put words in his mouth, is saying that if the Raiders are going to listen, it's got to be a deal that's so impressive, it's got to be worth it for the Raiders. So, yeah, let's dive into that. What type of deal potentially would it be worth for the Raiders to move Maxx Crosby? Well, that's a big move. He's a player in his prime. He's an elite player. He's a motivated player with a major motor. He doesn't stop. He does multiple things great. So Dan Mitchell, before the show, tweeted out, the Bills are reportedly interested in Maxx Crosby. Let's break down this garbage. Let's break down this garbage word by word. The Bills are reportedly interested in Maxx Crosby. Okay, so's everybody. Here's my proposal for compensation. The Bills receive Maxx Crosby. The Raiders receive a 2026 first rounder, which would be this year. Do you know what the Bills picked this year? Yeah. And next year's first round pick, plus Ed Oliver, who says no. So I went out there and said about 2 to 3 million Raider fans say no, plus the owner and front office. Okay, so that's what we're getting at now. Everybody's trying to put together these packages for Maxx Crosby. If there's a beautiful package and he gets traded, I didn't say yes or no on the deal. That's an organizational decision. I don't think it's a smart move to trade Maxx Crosby. I have no problem being on record with that. I think you want to keep Maxx Crosby, but the GM and the coach already said that, and I'm not up the food chain ladder. I'm pretty good on the food chain, but I'm not up there when it comes to making decisions, and that's what I think is going to happen. I think that Maxx Crosby hopefully stays because the Raiders don't get value that they think is worth moving the most important player in the organization. So that's how I see it. The question is, how long do we want to do this? How long do we want to pretend this? And one of the things I'm proud that we do here on this channel, and what I do in my couple of hours every day on this particular platform, say it with me, I don't waste your time. I don't waste your time. I could. People in my industry do it all the time. They talk about food, cheeseburgers, chicken wings, what they did, where they didn't get good Wi-Fi. They waste your time. They also talk about topics that are so small, covering teams that aren't even good. And for those who say, wait, the Raiders aren't very good, you're right, but the Raiders are in the NFL. They're worth probably $8 to $9 billion. They feed a lot more households than everybody else combined in this marketplace. Yeah, the Raiders are the biggest thing by far. They're not the best when it comes to wins, losses. They're not at the Golden Knights with Stanley Cups or even Mark Davis's aces, but it's the NFL, and that's what they do. So how long do you want to go forward with this? I don't know. I'm going to talk about it every day because we're inside Raider Nation for much of the show, and Raider fans are going to want to get breaking news. But when you hear a podcaster scream in front of a green board saying, I got news. No, they don't. They have nothing, like zero. Because if they did, they would have been sitting with me, my wife, and Rachel and Max at the Commitment to Excellence Award dinner, or they would have been in line like the fans looking to take a selfie and get an autograph. They weren't there. Okay, the people that are there in Max's circle are in his circle. And that doesn't mean Maxx is never going to leave or he's never going to get traded. He could get traded quickly here if the Raiders find a deal. I don't see that happening, nor do I want to see it happen. So Albert Breer is really connected too. So Albert Breer is one of the guys here that's in the room that believes that, there was trades done today with the Texans. They're dealing a 4th and 7th round pick and a veteran O-lineman, Juice Scruggs, to the Lions for David Montgomery. That was some pretty big news there overall. There's a couple of trades going down. But he put out a column on what's the next step for Maxx Crosby. And he thinks it's going to heat up this week. And it's going to heat up big this week, and I respect him a lot. And if he believes something's going to heat up and something could go down, well, we'll listen to Albert Breer and see what's going on. Albert Breer is like every other big-time NFL insider. You got to be up to speed on Maxx Crosby. You got to know the owner, Mark Davis. You got to have a relationship with John Spytek. You don't have to know Clint Kubiak because he's the coach. This is not personnel. He's not personnel. But you got to know Crosby's agent, who I sat with. You got to know everybody in the room here if you're going to speculate that a deal could get done. Okay, so that's my Maxx Crosby update. It was just great hanging out with him again. He's a good dude. I mean, he knows my kids' names on a first-name basis, always asking how the wife is, always cool. And no matter whatever happens with Maxx Crosby for the rest of his career, I have his back. He's been great. He is a legendary Raider. Now, he hasn't put up the pelts on the wall that Gene Upshaw has and Fred Biletnikoff has, but he's trying. He's trying to get up there. So if you want to add anything with Maxx that you think is relevant, not speculative, and if you want to make it speculative and you have an idea, you're more than welcome. This is your show. But just kind of put something together that makes sense. Let's not waste each other's time, because a lot of people waste each other's time, and I don't think you should be allowed to do that on sports radio. You should have a vision every day on what you want to talk about, and that's what I'm talking about today. 702-365-9200. If you're around, 702-365-9200 is our number here. So that was Friday night. Saturday, I went to NRL Rugby. I want to thank Rob Cornelius and his entire team that set us up. We had a rugby player in studio here. So I got there and I rolled in and we had a credential. I get credentials for sporting events, but this credential let you on the field. It's like, no, I'm not going to the press box. I live at that press box. I ain't going to the 400 level. I'll go sit in seats. I had pretty good tickets. No, this let me on the field. And we were in the Champions Club and down on the field and got a chance to be just a few feet away, a few yards away from some of the greatest rugby players in the world that were playing all out. It was great sportsmanship at the highest level. They sold 45,000 seats. So there were a lot of people, butts in seats there. The fans were great. You had multiple different international teams, mostly from Australia. Slid into the Winfield Club, had some beverages there, and got a chance to watch with the fans. So I know a little bit about Australia. I've been there, and I was talking to a couple of fans about places I visited, what's happening, and they sold a lot of beer. Legion Stadium sold a lot of beer. So NRL rugby was absolutely fabulous. That was a really good night. Sunday, I did 4 hours, 9 to 1 p.m. Then I golfed over at Spanish Trail. And then last night, my wife and I went to Mr. October Foundation, Reggie Jackson's evening over at Allegiant Stadium. Was at the Torch in that area. So my wife and I roll up there, and this is fun. I'm going to be talking about this thing probably for days. We get up there, and we were there kind of early when the doors opened up, maybe 6:30. The event was going to start 7:30. And we're there, and I go to, there's some food lined up and some memorabilia, and I see Dr. J, Julius Erving. That's a hero of mine, sports hero, of course. And I walk up to Julius Erving, and I say, Julius JT, we met before, but I watched Soul Power, the ABA historic documentary. He goes, what'd you think? I go, I thought it was great. So we had a guest on my show Friday, told your story. It was fantastic. He couldn't have been great. So then I roll over, and one of the greatest basketball players ever, George Gervin, the Iceman's there. And I got a chance to meet him 20 years ago in San Antonio, and he remembered me. And we connected. My wife took a great picture. And as my wife was taking the picture of me and George Gervin, someone came up behind my wife and put his hands over my wife's eyes. Like when you joke when you see it. It was Marcus Allen, name drop alert. Marcus rolled in. And Marcus rolled in with Richard Dent, Jerome Bettis, Eric Dickerson, Mike Singletary, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Dr. J was sitting with him. It was like, man, JT, this is your life. Mark Davis was there. He came down and we spent a good half hour with the owner of the Raiders, Mark Davis, who was so impressed on how great his stadium looked for this event because he's really tight with Reggie. Reggie Jackson rolled in with Roger Clemens, Greg Maddox, right? So this room was getting pretty ridiculous of who was in this room on a Sunday night. And then they had some white couches, some VIP areas where they were pouring some champagne and some cognac. And Neo's there. And I don't know a lot of Neo's music, but Neo couldn't have been cooler. He walked right up to us. We met Neo, and he performed. And when he performed, Reggie came on stage with him and was dancing. To see 80-year-old Reggie Jackson dancing with Neo was great. And then the internet almost broke. 50 Cent was the headliner. And 50 Cent comes out and does 6 or 7 songs, 2 of them with Neo. And it was only at that point about 150, 200 people. It wasn't 1,000, 200 people. So we got a chance to see that. I didn't realize how good Neo is. Neo was standing next to 50, doing all those tunes, and he was great. So then the highlight of the night was at the end of the night. Well, 2 things. At the end of the night, where they're waiting and just wrapping it up, they had a silent auction. And 50 Cent's walking right towards me. And I say, hey, Curtis. That's his real name. He's got a Yankee hat on. Yeah. I go, great performance. You mind taking a photo with my wife? Where's your wife? Pulls my wife over, talks, engages, talks for, a good 20 seconds. We take a picture. And after we take the picture, Adrian Peterson's there. Oh, my God. You want to talk about a guy who looks like he is cut out of granite. Adrian Peterson's there, and I go, Boomer, because he went to Oklahoma where my son went. And we talked to him for a few minutes, and I had a great conversation with Adrian Peterson, who's had some personal issues in his life, as you know. And he was asking about the world of podcast. And I said, look, if you're going to get into a podcast world, be authentic because you got really good stories. And a lot of your stories are hard. stories to tell about him being a dad, his dad, everything, his financial issues that he's had. He goes, no, I really appreciate you doing it. He goes, I think I'm going to do one. And I just said, be authentic. If you lie once on the podcast, no one will ever listen again. And he was like really into hearing about that. So that was cool. So what a night. Reggie Jackson, currently now, he's golfing at the Wynn with all of these golfers. They're all at Wynn golfing. Would have liked to have been there today, but I'm doing the heavy lifting for Raider Nation today. Hoping to get a couple phone calls, maybe a guest or two in this great weather. So that was my weekend. It was pretty cool. From Maxx Crosby to NRL Rugby to Reggie Jackson and meeting some of my heroes. And when I was driving home with my wife, I said, man, I'm pretty lucky in life. I really felt that way. I felt a lot of gratitude because my heroes, I just turned 60. I was born in 65. So my heroes were Fred Biletnikoff, Ken Stabler, George Gervin, Dr. J, Thurman Munson, who died in a plane crash, Reggie Jackson. I got a chance to meet pretty much all of them and know them on a first-name basis. And a lot of that had to do all because of my association with the Raiders and the opportunity that I've received with the Raiders. So it's full of gratitude. It was really something cool that, I was excited to be a part of. And I thought that was just a fun couple of days in Vegas. This does not happen anywhere else in America other than maybe Miami or LA or New York, where you could be sitting around, kicking back, and doing those three things I did. You think it was smart building Allegiant Stadium? For all the scoundrels on radio and media years ago who said, don't bring the Raiders here, it won't work, don't bring the Raiders here. Allegiant Stadium is just incredible. And for people who throw events there, they're just blown away by it. All right, so the show began 25 minutes ago. I told you about my weekend. If you went to the Commitment to Excellence Awards, and there were hundreds of Raider fans there, hundreds. So you should call in today and tell me what you thought of Maxx. Did you get a moment with Maxx? There's some cool people there who were talking to Maxx. If you did talk to Maxx, tell me about what his demeanor was like and what it was like to talk to him. I'd love to hear from you on that. 702-365-9200. What we have lined up throughout the show today, Harry Ruiz will join us next. He's really good. Harry will give you the Latino voice of the Raiders. Also, Leger Duzable, former offensive lineman, is going to join us at the top of the hour. And then I have scheduled Robert Turbin, the former running back for the Seahawks, who loves Combine talk, but he's been a regular guest of mine. He'll join us at 1:30 Pacific time. We might add another guest. I got a couple of phones, a couple of texts out there. But I want to talk to you about the weekend here, man. You got an opportunity to dive right into Raider Nation and be heard, and we'd like to hear from you. The monologue brought to you by Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo. Oh, yeah, the Maxx Crosby event, they were serving cold Modelo. And it was nice to have one with a stick. We're off and running. If you're a Raider fan, there's a lot of Raider news out there. Most of it is inaccurate. What is accurate, we'll try to cut through and talk about it on the flagship of the Silver and Black.
Previously on Unnecessary Roughness.
And I remember saying, well, I'll take Derek Carr because the Raiders were looking for a quarterback. I was like, I'll take Derek Carr. Take him in the second round, though, because Khalil Mack, if he's there, would love to see him.
What's happening, everybody?
It actually ended up playing out that way. So I think 8 of 5 Raiders hit it on the head when he says it's been looking for that franchise quarterback for a while, year after year, where it's been a bunch of Band-Aids and, 3 years could turn to 10 years really quickly. Now, Fernando Mendoza, that seems like that's all out the window.
Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q, weekdays at 2.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. It looks like you have locations all over Southern Nevada.
Yes, sir. Over 25 area locations. You never have to travel far in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Pahrump, Mesquite, or Laughlin to find a DLC. But the best part is saving the drive altogether and applying from the comfort of your couch at don'tbebroke.com.
I kind of like stopping by.
Good call, and it's really worth the drive. We've been processing our $5,000 short-term loans over 20.
All right, just a little bit loud. Everybody hear the audio good? Everything sound good? Everything good?
Around half the cost of the payday entitlement.
The Texans are becoming Iowa State South.
See lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by.
Blind Mike and Philly checking in. Good to see you.
Real.
Thanks for the monologue.
Also apply over at
Yes, 702-365-9200 when they do pick up the phones. We struggle at times on the show picking up the phones, which is kind of weird, but I'll save that for another day. Yeah, I was blessed. I'm a blessed person, man. It was a good weekend.
Vegas Golden.
When it comes to luxury, don't forget.
Anybody watching the World Baseball Classic? Yeah, 702-365-9200.
Your teammates, trades, they have you covered. Their team of experts provides top-notch service, ensuring your cars.
Do you have Harry's number?
The Cadillac of the Valley Automall offers convenient pickup and delivery.
Visit them online at FreeCadillac.com to schedule your appointment.
You won't believe everything I just saw. I went to Disneyland, and it was the 70th celebration. First, I went to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Live, and I danced with Goofy. At night, I saw this parade. Everything was glowing. Sorcerer Mickey was there, and Lightning McQueen. Oh, then I went to this giant water show with all the Inside Out characters. And I was like, whoa. And then my parents were like, guess what? Bluey and Bingo are coming.
Make memories that last a lifetime during the 70th celebration with Paint the Night Parade, World of Color Happiness, and Bluey's Best Day Ever. Coming soon. Save with Good Neighbor Hotel packages starting at $164 per person per night on select days through March 31st, 2026. For a party of 4 adults, including 2-day, 1 park per day tickets and a 3-night stay at a select Good Neighbor Hotel in a deluxe room. Total price $1,960. Visit Disneyland.com/GoodNeighborHotel.
Looks like the Chargers are trying to re-up Khalil Mack on a 1-year deal.
Taking savings to the next level. Check it out. These products and services save energy and money. There are discounts and rebates on energy-efficient devices and free smart thermostat. Take savings to the next level at nvenergy.com/powershift. PowerShift. NV Energy. This is what we do.
Modelo is an official service of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with fighting.
Yeah, this shirt is from Silver Oak. That's a Napa winery, which I love their wine.
PTs, the best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
Gino to throw. He's looking down the middle to the end zone. Caught Bowers. Back in the end zone in tight coverage. Touchdown Raiders. Brock Bowers was sandwiched between the defender and the end line and hauled it in for a 7-yard touchdown grab. His 7th of the season. And the Raiders are an extra point away from tying it up early in the second quarter.
Jason Horowitz on the call. Raiders highlights on the flagship of the Silver and Black. JT in Vegas, we're taking your phone calls throughout the show today, 702-365-9200. We are brought to you by the M Resort Spa and Casino. They have 2 towers now, not 1, but 2. You probably haven't been in the second tower yet. Worth a look. It looks fabulous. I've been in there a bunch. What a great job they do. If you're looking to stay in Vegas, you're coming from out of town, choose the M Resort, official partner of the Silver and Black. The Spanish voice of the Raiders, Harry Ruiz, joins us on Selected Mondays. We are in the off season, Harry, but it doesn't feel like the off season with the new coach, the GM, Mendoza coming, and the Maxx Crosby chatter. So how are you handling all this content?
I mean, the NFL machine never stops, JT, but especially this year with the Raiders having the number 1 overall pick, the Maxx Crosby chatter, which I just leave it at that, at chatter, where I pointed something out on Twitter from when Media Row was happening or Radio Row was happening in Super Bowl week, where you had Jake Glazer and Diana Ruffini talking about Crosby on other outlets, talking about him, but not on their own outlet, not on their own social media. I always thought that was a little bit fishy. And then, of course, now you got everybody saying, well, if the Raiders get offered a great package, they might trade him. It's like, well, if they offered you 4 first-rounders, you would trade anybody in any team right now, nowadays in any sport. But I don't look at it that way. Maxx Crosby, he's a cornerstone of this franchise. Fans love him. Ownership loves him. Front office loves him. There's nobody in Vegas that has anything bad to say about this guy. So it's just everything's coming through left and right, JT, but we just got to wait and see. We got the draft coming up. I'm excited about that. We got the new year of the league starting up here in a couple of days. So it's a nonstop machine, the NFL.
Yeah, the Crosby stuff, and you're at a lot of practices. There's not much more to say. We know he's the first one in. He's always lifting. He's always working out, trying to get better, treating his body to the best of his ability. And then he practices really hard. But where do you stand, Harry, overall with the fact that he hasn't won? He's only been to the playoffs once. They didn't win that playoff game. And he's in the absolute prime of his career. And the Raiders have the worst record in football. It's a heavy climb for him to get back to where he could be in the playoffs multiple years in a row, coming up with his career, which I think is going to be important to him. Hopefully it happens here.
No doubt about it, but look at it this way as well. Every year, only 53 players are on an active roster in the Super Bowl that is won. If he is a part of the Raiders roster, hopefully the day comes soon where the Raiders are top contenders and winning the Super Bowl, and he's the leader of this franchise, he's going to be up there with names like Jim Plunkett, like Howie Long, guys that are icons in this franchise, Marcus Allen, Cliff Branch. You can go on and be like, hey, you are one of the top Raiders in franchise history if you're able to bring him back. If he goes over somewhere else to be another piece that was missing for somebody and wins the Super Bowl, I feel like, yes, it would be huge, but it wouldn't carry the same weight. Look at the guys that he has tattooed on his chest. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Of course, Jordan had that year with the Wizards. I really don't count it, but his legacy was with the Bulls. The Bulls are who they are because of Michael Jordan. The Lakers, Kobe Bryant, he brought them back to the glory days. How many championships have they won since Kobe Bryant retired? One, and it was the 2020 shortened pandemic season. So it's like he wants to be looked at like one of those guys. I feel like if he continues with the Raiders, it's that way. And I want to say something that you brought up right now. It's like, hey, he's in that building every single day. He's trying to get back at 100%. We saw that video of him over the weekend. If he wanted JT, he could go with other experts somewhere else and get that recovery done outside the building. If he were, in my opinion, disappointed at someone, like if I'm mad at somebody, JT, I'm not going unless I'm like, I have to 100% be there. We've seen players in the past get their recovery situation taken care of outside buildings. Max is right there, and he's always rocking Raider gear when he could be wearing his own gear instead.
Harry Ruiz is our guest. I agree with all that, and he just loves Vegas. Everything's here, but the chatter's going to continue. So the Raiders put out a list of all their coaches. They've completed their coaching staff hiring. I don't know most of them. I'm assuming you don't either. We know some of the bigger names, some familiar names there, but it comes down to Clint Kubiak and the confidence level that he has with Robbie Leonard leading the defense as defensive coordinator. And he's got Mike McCoy, a former head coach, helping him in the offensive room with the quarterback that we expect to be Fernando Mendoza. So big picture, how do you feel about this coaching staff now that it's locked in?
I like it, JT, and I don't have the exact names in front of me, but every time that the Raiders were sending out the press release with the background of each coach, I would go through it, and I was shocked. There's a lot of these guys that are former quarterbacks, both in the college level, in the pro level, in the high school level, and it's like, hey, you know what? I love it that, yes, there's no quarterback coaching title in the Raiders coaching staff this year, but there's a lot of guys that can put their knowledge, their hands on Fernando Mendoza potentially if he gets drafted by the Raiders, which is the expectation at the moment, and be able to help them get to the NFL and not have a hard time with the transition. So that's something that I noticed where it's like, hey, they are trying to get that offensive side of the ball figured out, because we can go all the way back. It feels like forever ago when Antonio Pierce was introduced as the Raiders head coach ahead of the 2024 season, getting that interim tag taken off. What did AP say in that press conference? I want 24 plus points per game. Well, the Raiders, it's been 3 years in a row that they haven't been able to average over 21 points per game. So this is something that needs to get fixed ASAP. And the Raiders, I look at that staff, and Clint Kubiak, he is focusing big time on that offense. Of course, the defense is important. Rob Leonard, I love that they took that level to say, hey, let's make you our defensive coordinator. We trust you. He's been there with Brian Flores, with Patrick Graham, with great out defensive coordinators, and he can do his system now on his own, 3-4. It's going to be interesting to see how that looks. And I'm excited about what this coaching staff is bringing to the table, JT.
Harry Ruiz, the Latino voice of the Silver and Black. Should the Dodgers even play this year, or should we give them the trophy in April?
No, I mean, it depends, JT. If Aaron Judge defers his good performances to the future, then yes, give him the trophy. But when it comes to World Series, you were there, Game 1 of the World Series back in 2024. But it's crazy. You look at that lineup. Blake Snell, he ain't going to start, but there's no problem because they got young bucks like Jack Dreyer, like Justin Robleski, guys that they drafted that are ready to go and fill in for Blake Snell. Tyler Glass now, he's a wild card. We don't know if he's just going to pitch 3 starts and then go on the IL and then come back in July, August. For other teams, that's a hard blow for their chances. Look at what happens. Garrett Cole with the Yankees. He's out for the year. That's hard for the Yankees. And the top 3 starter for any team is hurt. It's a hard blow. For the Dodgers, they just keep reloading with guys that they already paid or guys that are young talents in there. But that lineup, when they signed Kyle Tucker, it was literally 90 minutes after my baby was born. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was hopeful that it could happen, but I was like, in reality, he's going to go somewhere else. So they signed him. Edwin Diaz. I was like, he's going to stay with the Mets. He comes to the Dodgers. That's it, JT. You build it, and they will come. When players want to go, unlike the NFL, where you got to go for keeps to the team, in the big league, when the top dog like the Dodgers offers you more money than other teams, it's like, hey, man, I want to go win the World Series. Why wouldn't I go to the Dodgers?
Harry Ruiz, one more on that. I mean, I feel like the Dodgers are going to catch more shrapnel than any team, deservingly so if there's a lockout. It looks like we're leading towards a lockout for salaries, player disparity salaries overall with bigger markets and small markets. If this was the 70s or 80s, the Yankees would get the heat for that. But this is more money, and it's in 2026. Do most Dodger fans understand that that's going to be coming at them directly more so than any other fan base in all of baseball?
And that's what I feel that's hilarious. Like, okay, so fans from other teams, they're supporting billionaires over millionaires because players are making the money that they deserve. For example, JT, if somebody offers you $5 million to go host a show in New York, would you take it? If somebody offers you that type of money, you say yes. Like I'm saying it. If I get called from a Saudi Arabian football league to call games in Spanish for 20 times what I get paid in Vegas, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll go. I don't know nothing from Saudi Arabian football, but if you're offering me way more than the competition, I'll go. If they're able to pay you, you take the money. And that's the thing. There's no cap in the Dodgers. Hey, we've seen other teams do it before. Now we're the ones that should feel about it because our ownership group, unlike in the Frank McCourt era, we were seeing a team that in a top market, we ran like a poverty franchise. We were still there in the stands. We were still one of the top teams in attendance. Now they're winning, they're spending money, and here's a good part. They're spending it in a smart way. Look at the Angels down the freeway. Albert Pujols, Anthony Rendon, Josh Hamilton. They spent a lot of money in those guys. Those were all strikeouts. They were terrible signings for that team. The Dodgers, they spent that money wisely. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. Just like those other guys I mentioned with the Angels that seemed like sure things, the Dodgers signed these guys and they actually got good results for them. That's the problem for everybody right now, that the Dodgers are spending and winning. If they weren't winning, nobody would be saying that.
Yeah, they're deferring a lot of money too. When you only have to pay Ohtani $2 million out of that amount, that is unique. And before you say other teams can do it, other teams don't do it. And the Dodgers are deferring a lot of money. Which I would say this too. You've known me a long time. If it was the Yankees, I would say this. That I think that Rob Manfred has to close that loophole. If the Dodgers want to pay all that money, you have to pay salaries each year, whatever the yearly salary is in full, and not be able to defer all that money, especially the amount of money getting deferred for Shohei. I mean, if you pay him all that money and then you're still winning, I'm good with it. But the deferral stuff, I think, is what's going to lead to the lockout.
So here's the thing. It's like 80-85% of that money still counts towards the Dodgers salary tax situation. Exactly, where they still got to pay like double the amount for salary tax that goes to all the other teams. Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers have to put that money inside an account where it's there no matter what. The $68 million that are going to go for Shohei in the future, the Dodgers are paying it and putting it in an account, and Shohei's going to take it in the future. So I don't see what the problem is when a Yankee team that's in a top number one market in the country, and they're making money. I feel that they're making money. Do you think they're making money, JT?
I do.
Why don't you get to the time and use a resource that's available for you and could help you win instead of just being like, oh no, it's wrong that they're doing this. Every team can do it. At the level of the Dodgers, probably not, but they can do it.
But how come no other teams are doing it, just the Dodgers?
Hey, should ask their front office.
That's what they're asking. That's what they're going to be asking Rob Manfred when they lock out the season. That's one of the things that Rob Manfred's going to have to ask. But, Harry, I didn't think you were good enough last year to win it all, and you did. And I think it's over in April. I think the Dodgers are going to walk. Unless my Yankees bring up some of these young guns in the minors, which I'm really excited about, and they hit it good. It looks like the Dodgers, by a long shot this year, you should have, as a new dad, this should be a very good season for you, sitting at home, being a dad and watching Dodger baseball.
Hey, here's the thing. The Blue Jays, though, out there in the American League, they invested money. And I love that Aaron Judge called out the Yankees. And it was like, hey, we're seeing everybody spend money and get all these good players. And what about us? I love that he called them out and having to wait until late to get Cody Bellinger. And the Blue Jays, I'm excited because, dude, that Game 7, that had me all kinds of nervous. And Dodgers easily could have lost that World Series. They didn't. And I'll say this. Last year, I thought the Dodgers were going to win like 120 games. They barely won the division. So this year, everybody thinks the Dodgers are going to win it all by with 120 games. It's baseball. Anything can happen any given day.
You got it, Harry. All the best. I'm excited for you and what's going on in your life. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Much love, JT. I got to go feed my daughter. So thank you for having me on, brother.
Congratulations for that. New dad, Harry Ruiz. Appreciate him jumping in. If you'd like to get in, good time to do it now. 702-365-9200 as we continue on. Brought to you by Remy Martin, Sip Like Sports Royalty. You can put Remy Cointreau into any margarita. The Cointreau is the best. I don't care what tequila you use. A lot of people like different tequilas. But if you're going to use Cointreau, it's got to be the great Cointreau from Remy Martin. Sip Like Sports Royalty. This JT the Brick for Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. I'm a Caniac, and I tell everybody the best chicken fingers. All right, man. We're rocking today, man. I will be right back. Hydrate.
Crispy crinkle cut fries. I choose between the lemonade or the iced tea. And most importantly, that cane sauce that's made in store every day. When it comes to chicken fingers, there's only one choice for this Caniac. It's Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One Love, proud partner of Raider Nation Radio.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
This is JT for the Black Hole, home of football's most notorious fans. If you're a diehard Raider fan, this is your home. Become a member today and receive 20% off online purchases, hotel discounts for home and away games, access to members-only merchandise, and much more. All memberships are now lifetime memberships. Once a member, always a member. If you bleed silver and black, visit theblackhole.com today. That's theblackhole.com.
Nevada's essential workers keep our state running. Now, One Nevada Credit Union wants to help you own a piece of the state you support. Eligible home buyers can receive up to $20,000 in down payment assistance to use towards your down payment, closing costs, or eligible loan expenses. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your next home, if you work in healthcare, education, law enforcement, or construction, this could be your key to home ownership. Don't wait. Visit onenevada.org today. Membership required. Loan subject to credit approval. Eligibility and terms apply. Equal housing.
If it's for a truck, give us a call. We got it. For the truck is your premier truck.
Our suspension.
We got 3 colors on hold.
Good.
We're only gonna have time to take 1.
Okay.
And then we can take the other 2 after the game.
Specializing in precision suspension tuning for
start
sports
with
cars,
Joe.
SUVs, and of course trucks. From high-end alignments to full suspension upgrades, we have everything you need.
Hey Joe, you still there? Joe? Okay, great. We're gonna get you when we come back from break, all right?
Success at Crystal Racing Fighters Executive of the Year Luncheon. Join us on March 11th from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Rio Hotel and Casino for an inspiring afternoon honoring Tony F. Sanchez III of NV Energy as Executive of the Year and Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada as a Business Partner of the Year. Enjoy lunch, meaningful stories, and a chance to support hardworking students preparing for college and careers. Secure your seat today and be part of something powerful by visiting crystalracingfighter.org.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach your friendly Lightweight Kid. Nation, super easy, and your car can be picked up by tomorrow. Call now or go to Cars for Kids.
We have former offensive lineman Leger Douzable on at the top of the hour. We'll stay for him, and then we'll shut down the feed. We got a 3-hour Mad Dog tonight. Mondays and Tuesdays are my double dip.
Check it out. These products and services.
Amazing. I'm doing 5 hours of radio still Monday, Tuesday, and Sunday. That's a lot. So, but what else am I going to do? It's not like I'm defending my country here and fighting on the front lines. It's just sports. Here we go. Thank you. We'll go to Joe.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the Casa Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
JT, back with you as we continue on. All right, we'll hear from you. Joe is up next. He's been waiting the longest. Joe, thanks for joining us. What's happening?
What's up, JT? How's everything?
I'm doing great. Thank you. What's on your mind?
Good. All right, just a couple of points with Max. For the record, don't want to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he's the best player we got. Point number 2, Max has got to realize we're going to struggle again this year. We have a rookie head coach. We have a rookie quarterback. They're going to go through growing pains. And believe it or not, Nando might not even start the first week. If you listen to Brady and, Son, Spytek, so there might be 6 to 8 games, weeks where he's not going to start. So
I don't think there's going to be 6 to 8 weeks where Mendoza isn't starting. Every first pick overall plays. Well, that would surprise me. That would surprise me. But okay.
It wouldn't surprise me. 6 to 8 weeks. Follow the blueprint that New England did. But we're gonna, we're a 3-win team this past season. With Fernando, like 6-7 games is an improvement. So Max has got to realize that we're a young team, and it's okay, and I'm for it. I'm all for what they're doing, but Max has to understand that. And my last point: if they decide to trade Max, if they do, the starting point, if the Sauce Gardner got 2 first-round draft picks to him. The starting point, Rams and Cowboys with their 2 number 1. If Sauce can garner 2 first-round draft picks, Max is way better than Sauce Gardner. If you're not offering 2, quality first-round draft picks, that's the starting point. Whether we could get a player, included in that would be great, but we have to at least get 2 first-round and quality. I don't want New England's last pick. I don't want Seattle's last pick. I'll take the Rams. Mid-round picks, 1 mid-round, 1 a little bit later, and the Cowboys, I believe they have 12 and 20 as a, starting point. And, take it from there. On the record, I don't want to trade Max, but Max also has to be smart and realize that, rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, we're going to go through some growing pains, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but,
I think Max...
I'm willing to wait. Yeah. I hope Max is too.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, I would hope that Max would want to be here for this exciting chapter in Raider history. It's as exciting as any chapter that I think we can recall, with Mendoza coming in with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. I would think that Max would want to be around for that and continue to build his legacy. As I spent Friday night with him, he loves the Raiders. He loves Raider fans and all of that. But you can tell Max has got a lot on his mind. His name is out there. And Max is under contract, and his name is out there, and a lot of other teams want him. And for the teams that want him around the league, I get it. But picks to me, I'm not a big fan of picks. You might be, I'm not. I like good players. I like really good players, and I like spending money on great players, and Max is one of them. And Max isn't breaking the bank if you look at the structure of his contract. He's getting paid a lot of money. I mean, top of his game at his position, but it's not quarterback money. It's not. And I think you have to have a player like Max on your defensive side. I'm a culture guy, right? I like culture. And mostly the head coaches in the NFL, they're all good about culture. They love their jobs. They're in a small, tiny fraternity of head coaches. You don't think Robert Saleh wants to win? He was the head coach of the Jets. You think the Jets' culture sucked? No. Robert Saleh is a great culture guy. He had a bad team, had bad players. Pete Carroll. You think he's a culture guy? He's one of the great culture guys of the last 30 years in the NFL. No debate. Real big culture guy, right? Competition Pete. I found that shirt in my drawer the other day. Competition Pete. Big culture guy. Team was not good. He got fired. Max is a player who brings in culture. It's hard to replace that. I know that building pretty well. I know people in the bowels of that building pretty well. Maxx Crosby's a big part of everybody's vibe when they wake up every day and they go to work. It's hard to lose a player like that if you do. And if you do, you wish him well. You thank Max for everything. I'm not willing to go there yet. I'm not willing to do that. I think that there is a cause for Max to be here because he's under contract. Now, if he was a free agent, or as someone suggested, if you were going to trade Maxx Crosby to go up and get a quarterback, and you had to get Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, and the only way to do it was by moving Max, I wouldn't want to see it, but that'd be an interesting topic. Raiders don't have to move up to get a quarterback. They got one. A pretty good one that's going to come in with the first pick overall. And I like Robbie Leonard, his position coach, as the new defensive coordinator. Leger Douzable is a really good NFL insider, former 10-year vet, will join us next.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich flavor.
Well, let's talk in the chat. We got 313 people in here, on a lot of them on YouTube. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I don't like late first-round picks. Late first-round picks don't do anything for me. We've had high first-round picks here who have been a bust. I don't need a late first-round pick like a Fabian Washington or a Damon Arnett. I don't need that. I need great players. So, Danny, you got his number. We're all good. His name is Leger.
Okay.
Leger.
90 seconds.
Yeah, you can call him right when the music plays and we come out, if you want, whatever.
Okay.
Call at Henson or online at inthetoyota.com.
It's JT. Grimaldi's is hands down my favorite pizza in Vegas. Only at Grimaldi's can you get the famous New York-style coal-fired brick oven pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check them out online at grimaldispizzeria.com.
This St. Patrick's Day, don't rely on luck when it comes to dealing with the insurance companies. Hi, this is Paul Pata from Paul Pata Law. If you've been in a car accident, motorcycle accident, or a slip and fall, our amazing team will fight on your behalf with the insurance companies to get you the justice you deserve. And we don't need a 4-leaf clover to do it. Remember, it's not about the injury, it's about the recovery. Go to paulpatalaw.com.
I did not see the price for Metallica tickets at the Sphere, Big D. I would assume they're what, 500, 450 to 600? Is that about right? That's normally what everything is. Oh. With spots, works, the Valley, live local entertainment 7 nights a week. Great place to watch football games. Check it out at lacasacigars.com.
Open a Clark County Credit Union high-yield bonus checking.
Okay.
Choose using your checking account. Plus, bonus checking offers peace of mind, unrivaled security, and smart savings. To banking at CCCU, isn't it about time? Open a bonus checking account today and start earning more interest. Because if someone's making money off your checking account, shouldn't you? But try to be insured by a
Last night was not a late night, but it was an emotional night, man.
Plumbing, we're fair prices.
Yeah, I'm drinking water today.
For your everyday plumbing needs, we're here 365 days a year, rain or shine, day or night. Extend the life of your water heater right now. For a limited time, take advantage of our water heater flush special for only $26. Visit us at 365plumbingnv.com.
Anybody do anything fun over the weekend?
365 Plumbing goes.
Power Shift by NP Energy is all about taking savings to the next level. Check it out. These products and services save energy and money. There are discounts and rebates on energy-efficient devices and free smart thermostats. The next level at nvenergy.com/powershift. PowerShift by NV Energy. This is what we do.
We go with the morning tailgate with Clay Gager. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on Raider Nation Radio now 20 AM from ARO Las Vegas.
It's the JT the Brick Show.
Just get up every day, you take one step at a time, and you keep going and show up. We have a big hump to climb, but we're not trying to do it all in one day.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. It's really important to me that we're a gritty team that ain't the way that they were back in the old days. It's nothing that we say, it's what we do on the field. All the little things that win that have nothing to do with scheme. And now, here's JT the Brick.
Welcome back in, everybody. Hour number 2 on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Combine over. Everybody back. People talking about potential trades. There were a couple of trades earlier today. Montgomery, a pretty good player from Detroit, on the move to Houston. We'll go through some of those deals that are out there. And again, they become official when the start of the new league comes, but there are GMs now cutting deals. There are GMs now cutting deals and looking to upgrade their football teams ahead of the draft. I would have no problem with the Raiders doing that either. I would have no problem with the Raiders doing that at all. Whatever they can do to make trades, spend money in free agency, go get 2 to 3 players that you know you can pencil in as a starter before the draft. Because the Raiders have struggled the last couple of years drafting players who can play, let alone start, and have impacts. From linebackers to corners, they're just guys that end up not making it, and they don't play much. And the coaching staffs get fired, and they move on, and the new coaches come in. And the new coaches really don't like the players. They're not their guys, and they let them go. That has got to stop. That has got to stop, and you got to just be a little bit more focused on exactly who you're going to bring in and make sure they're impact players, and I'm confident that John Spytek is in the process of doing that. I really do. I think he's in the process of doing it, and he wants to get it done, and he's excited to do that. Teammate on Sirius XM, he's on NFL radio, also a number of different platforms. Lachey Douzable, kind enough to join us, former defensive end in the NFL, played for multiple teams, and a really good broadcaster. Good to talk to you again. Were you enthralled by the Combine, or are you one of now the broadcasters and former players that are saying this needs a little bit of a refresh to get energy going again? How'd you see it?
Some people call it underwear Olympics, but to me, it's more important for the team to get guys in front of them. Even though it's for only a short span, and what they're about, see what the level of the game is, what the knowledge of the game is. Because I'm one that likes to lean JT more on the tape. I know a lot of people get enamored when you see guys go out there and run a blazing 40 times, but football's not played in straight line. So that never really enamors me. I always lean towards the tape. I think the Combine is just a good place for the players to get in front of the team. A lot of times it's the first time, coaches and GMs and front office people get to lay eyes on guys up close and personal, especially on the underclass.
That's interesting because Dan Orlovsky got a lot of heat when he said he only watched 8 games of Mendoza. Everyone's like, what do you mean 8 games? His best games were his last 5 or 6. Where do you stand on Mendoza? You know, I'm in Vegas with the Raiders, and, you know, when you get the first pick overall, you got to hit on it, especially if it's a quarterback. Were you on that train with him early in the year, or did it build near the end of the year where he blew you away in the postseason?
The funny thing is, when you look at this quarterback class totality, I don't know if you remember this, Jay. People were talking bad about last year's quarterback class, and wait till next year. That'll be the quarterback class. And what happened, JT? Didn't all those quarterbacks go back to school? Yeah. Right. And we saw Garrett Nussmeier and Drew Aller come back, and they didn't improve their draft stock. So when you look at it, Fernando Mendoza actually going into the season really wasn't talked about when you talk about the top quarterbacks, right? And that's why the tape matters. Like I go back to what I said earlier, because Cam Ward going into the season last year wasn't the consensus number 1 quarterback, right? But he played his way into being that, and that's why I love the game of football, because you can play your way into being the top guy. The thing about Fernando Mendoza that he's even killed. He has a professional mindset, and he just has that it factor. You hear people talk about all the time, JT. Does he have the it factor? He doesn't. You saw it in the national championship game, right? On that 4th down on the quarterback draw where he willed his way into the end zone to take the lead. You saw it in the Penn State game, right, where he was able to touch pass it to Omar Cooper and a hell of a catch by Omar Cooper to take the lead versus Penn State. Like, he's had big moments where you want your quarterback to help elevate the team, and you've seen that throughout Fernando Mendoza this year in Indiana.
Well, Shea Dusible is our guest, NFL Radio on Sirius XM. I'm a fan of Kyler Murray. He got drafted by Arizona. Look, if Ben Roethlisberger didn't get drafted by the Steelers and got drafted by Arizona, would we be talking about him as a potential Hall of Famer and a 2-time Super Bowl champ? I'm not saying that he has that talent level, but athletically, he's a gifted athletic player. It's kind of a weird situation because Arizona's going to eat a lot of money to let him go, and then the new team can get him on some type of discount. I'd be all in on his athletic ability. He's completely healthy. I think he needs a new zip code. Where do you stand on Kyler Murray?
CBS Sports, we were doing this free agency segment, and with the quarterback class being what it is in the NFL draft, and then also what it is potentially for free agency, I say Arizona's in a weird spot, to be honest with you, JT, because Fernando Mendoza was likely, and I would say almost 99.999% sure he's going 1 overall, right? So if you're Arizona, and if I'm not mistaken, they're picking 3, you're not going to probably get your quarterback of the future this year. Where do you turn to if you release Kyler Murray? And it's a tough position to be in, because if you feel like with the new coaching staff and Mike LaFleur coming over, and also with them changing over the coaching staff and culture, if he's not a big believer in Kyler Murray, then I think the best thing to do is for both parties to split. But it's just a weird spot, because it's where do you go if you don't keep Kyler Murray on the team, right? There's rumors supposedly that Daniel Jones and maybe the Indianapolis Colts are on the same page when it comes to a deal, but it's Daniel Jones may not start the season healthy, right? He may not even be able to start the first couple of weeks. And then you look at it, there's going to be a Malik Willis sweepstakes. If you're Arizona, do you jump into that sweepstakes? It's only going to raise what he's going to get on an annual basis per year even higher. So it's not like it's a deep free agency class. It's not like you have a ton of options. Geno Smith could become available if the Raiders decide to go ahead and release him of his duties as the starting quarterback for the Raiders. But it's not deep. You're looking at a pool of Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson. Those are the types of numbers you're looking at. So Arizona, I would be leery to let Kyler Murray go. I know there's been discussions about his love of the game and the preparation that he puts in, and that was a big talking point when he got that extension. They put that that little addendum in there as far as him watching tape, which would never have to do with an NFL player. But you're right, JT. The skill set is there as far as the athletic ability, arm talent, and what he can do off platform. I think the biggest question with Kyler Murray is he all in as far as his preparation, and then can he take that next step from within the pocket?
Well, Shea Dusible, as we wrap it up, earlier today, the Texans and Brown agreed on terms of a trade to send starting right tackle Titus Howard to Cleveland. You said on X that you like the trade. There's going to have to be maybe some financial gymnastics. What do you think about these unofficial trades, these trades before the start of the league year, and young GMs, younger GMs compared to the old guard going, look, I'm going to get fired. I'm on a team that's not in the playoffs. I got some draft picks, but if I don't make some trades and get some free agents in here, I'm going to get fired. We had 10 coaching turnover jobs there. Do you believe we're going to see more trades and more aggressive moves in the offseason because just GMs and coaches are desperate to keep their jobs?
I do. I think it's fair, what you alluded to it as far as coaches and GMs wanting to be aggressive to be able to keep their jobs. But I also think it's just what I said earlier on X, like the cap gymnastics. Like, guys got to figure it out. And it's because teams have had to kick money down the road. Now you're in the situation. That's why the Cleveland Browns are in the situation. Obviously, that and the Deshaun Watson deal. But they've had to kick the can down on that deal so many times that his cap number is $80 million this year. So, like, they got to figure it out. They could lose a good player in Denzel Ward, because I think his cap number is like $26 million because they've kicked the can down the road. He's only slated to make $16 million, but his cap number is 26. So they got to figure it out and how to get Titus Howard's, money up under the cap number. They could do a few more restructures, but again, that's kicking the can down the road. I'm sure they'll do one with Deshaun Watson, because there's no way you go into the season with a quarterback with an $80 million cap hit. But you're right. It seems like GMs and coaches that are potentially on the hot seat are going to be a little bit more aggressive. And we didn't use the Texans. They didn't just make one trade today. The trade for David Montgomery, I thought a very good trade for them. I thought they needed a back that brought that physicality. They missed that when Joe Mixon has been hurt and he hasn't been in the lineup. And I think David Montgomery was kind of getting mad about his role with the Detroit Lions and was looking for more of a bigger role in another team. And I think he's going to a really good space with the Houston Texans.
Wrapping it up, we will say Doole, kind enough to join us, Sirius XM NFL Radio, obviously CBS Sports. You played for a number of teams and played the same position Maxx Crosby's playing. Can you imagine what he's going through now? Because he loves the Raiders, wants to be a Raider for life, but there are people calling, wanting to do deals, and the Raiders who are being run, not completely, but Tom Brady, as you know, has a big role with the Raiders. You don't find many guys you trade for who ever become a Maxx Crosby. How dicey is that situation to move them or keep them on a team that's trying to reload and get back in a year or two to the playoffs?
He's the heartbeat of that team. He encompasses what it means to be a Raider.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine, to your point, JT, him in another uniform. But as a player, you do get frustrated.
Yeah.
Right? You only have so many years to make an impact in meaningful games. And when I say meaningful games, playoff games. There has to be some excitement, right, with Clint Kubiak coming over and potentially getting Fernando Mendoza as number one pick. But they have so many holes, JT, on that defensive side of the ball. And I think for Maxx Crosby, that's the issue. Like, they have a boatload of money to spend, right? They have pretty decent draft capital. The thing is, does he want to sit around for a 2 to 3 year repeat? Because he's essentially been in that spin cycle for the last couple years. The funny thing is, the 1 year he went to the playoffs was with the interim head coach, Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah.
And it was crazy that the Raiders didn't make that guy the head coach, because obviously he galvanized that team and was able to keep everybody together and make a run at the playoffs. So if I'm ownership, then there's no way I can see myself parting with Max. The only way I do that is if Max comes to me verbatim and says I want out. And I feel like he's earned the right to say that if he does want out. But like the old saying goes, JT, for all the teams that want Maxx Crosby and his services, send me an offer I can't refuse.
Yeah, the offer you can't refuse is always what you wait for, and most of the time it doesn't come. Great to talk to you. I always enjoy our conversation, enjoy what is of an off season. There isn't much for both of us, but I love having you on. I hope we can do it again soon.
Appreciate it, JT.
You got it. Jose Doole, very good guest. He really connected on multiple platforms, and happy that he came on. He thinks Max is staying, right? There's another guy. He doesn't know, like I don't know, but thinks Max is staying because you really have a player you don't want walking out of your building. And you have players that you don't want walking out of your building. You got to do whatever you can to keep those players in your building. And then when they get to the age of 33, 34, you want to move on. Look, Max is a beast. Okay, he's had surgeries to clean up some knee meniscus stuff. These are not crazy surgeries. This is when you come back 100%. He'll come back 100% from these, and he's still young.
Okay, great.
But again, just seeing his demeanor the other night, it's not a big ask for Maxx Crosby to come to an event and get a trophy. You're there to come to the event to get your trophy. But this was a big deal because of who was in the room. I spent 15 minutes with Rich Gannon, right? Rich Gannon didn't have to go to that. He came. He doesn't live in Vegas. He came with Tim Brown and Greg Townsend and a lot of people. And they were all there to support Maxx Crosby. It was nice to see. I think Max really appreciated that. Mike in Philly joins us. Mike, thanks for waiting. You're up next. Go ahead.
Great interview. First of all, I love everything with NFL radio, and it's great and it's very cool stuff. Now, I want to bring this up because like I mentioned when I called before, the fact that, when it comes to Mendoza with the offensive line, the reason I feel like Maxx Crosby needs to stay there and they need to do everything they can to keep him there is because he's going to be the captain of that defense. Okay, so like let's say it's third or fourth down and you guys know that like you can't get a first down because of the offensive line, at least you have Maxx Crosby to coach up the defense and say, okay, like let's do this on the next drive. Like you'll be able to have a guy like that there to be a captain of that defense. Keep him there, man. And I like I said, I speak to Eagles fan. I've been there when we had guys like Reggie White, Clyde Simmons, and like our offense, first up. So keep him there, man. Like really, because it's gonna be a rough. It's gonna be like it's gonna be a rough year.
Right. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, you're right, Mike. Thanks. Appreciate the call. I watched those Eagles teams, and Eric Allen played on it, right? So Eric Allen, our Hall of Famer now with the Raiders at Silver and Black Productions. Those were good teams. Randall Cunningham, they were good teams. They couldn't get over the hump, and they had Reggie White. Where did Reggie go? Reggie went to Green Bay with Brett Favre and got a ring. I mean, the blueprint is there if you want to leave. The blueprint is there. It's a Reggie White blueprint. Is that Reggie White, the Minister of Defense, left the organization where he wanted to stay with and went to chase a ring, and he ended up getting it. But for more of those people who do that, it's normally a graveyard of people who chase rings. And Charles Barkley talked about it. Charles went to a lot of teams. Come on, Charles played for Houston, right? He played in Phoenix. He played for Philadelphia. It wasn't like Charles, but Charles didn't chase rings that way. He wasn't like racing to team. Kevin Durant is a ring chaser. Kevin Durant got his rings with the Warriors, and he likes to bounce around. Some guys are comfortable bouncing around. I don't think Max is. For as much as well as I know Max, and I think I know him well, I don't think he wants to bounce around with his wife and kids and move here and there and do that. He's a big structure guy, real big structure with his faith, his sobriety, everything he does. But look, if he gets to play for a team that's super elite and he's the difference in going to the playoffs 3 or 4 years in a row and getting the Super Bowl, I think you can do that in Vegas. I didn't think it would be this long to get the Raiders to a point where they would be competitive. They were competitive. Raiders have had a couple of years where they've been competitive, but barely a chance to sniff the playoffs, to be a wild card team and get in. So I'm pretty optimistic that they can turn this thing around pretty quickly, because if you don't turn it around quickly, you're wasting Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty's career, on top of Fernando Mendoza and Maxx Crosby. So, for those, be patient. No one wants to be patient. No one that I hang out with wants to be patient. Nobody. Everybody wants to find the right players and win. And they're going to be able to do that if they get Mendoza and they're able to keep Max. All right, Ben in Denver. Ben is up next on Raider Nation Radio. Hello, Ben.
GT, what's going on? Love the show.
Thanks.
I love Max. I think I've called people plenty of times saying I love Max. He's one of my favorite players. But, at what point, like your depth is dead. I mean, at what point? So, but this like getting 2 first-round picks, getting maybe a Pro Bowl player right now. God, that sounds enticing as far as maybe getting that.
Maxx Crosby's better than the Pro Bowl players. You're not going to do a trade even for even. The only thing you probably do is get a good player, maybe a Pro Bowler who's not as good as Max, and then some picks, and you have no idea where those picks are going to be. If the picks are, say it's a good team trading for Max and they have the 21st pick in the first round, You really want to risk everything on the 21st or the 19th pick of the first round? Is that going to make you sleep easy? Yeah.
Put it out there. I'd rather have Max stay and be bad for the next 200 years. That's how much I love Max. It's just as a Raider fan, you start thinking about, if we were to get early picks, I don't know. It's kind of it's hard right now for me to kind of think of what's going to happen. But yeah, I don't want Max gone. I hope he stays. And I mean, he's one of our best players, and he's great. So we'll see what happens. But on a different topic, we got the MLB baseball classic coming up, and
yeah,
about that. I'm pulling for I pull for Mexico, and I hope they do well. I know we play the Dodgers, so let's go Mexico on that one. But let's see what happens. And don't forget on that ring chasing. Don't forget LeBron. That's what he is too, along with Durant. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, thank you. Ring chasing is a topic I've done over the decades. The only thing Danny, I believe, who could ring chase, who should be able to ring chase, are guys who have played their entire career, and at the end of their career. Karl Malone came to the Lakers at the end for a ring. He just couldn't get one with Stockton and Malone, couldn't do it. Those are the ring chasers that I say, I got no problem if you're in your 11, 12, 13, and you haven't been close and you get a chance to go play with the team. I'm good with that.
I necessarily wouldn't consider what LeBron did as ring chasing.
Yeah.
Because in Cleveland, he gave them, 7 years of his career, and they didn't do anything to boost up that team. So he decided to leave, and he joined a team with one of his best friends in the league. And then Chris Bosh came, and they had the first big three.
Yeah.
And he won rings, and then he went back to Cleveland. Cleveland, he didn't go back to Cleveland to chase a ring. He went back there
to get one. Yeah, but you're right about that. I think LeBron had multiple rings, right? And even going to the Lakers, I think LeBron. The argument with LeBron is that he could have stayed and didn't have to go to the Laker land. They're thinking that he chased L.A. to go get rings there.
And in L.A., it was also a business venture too.
Yeah, sure.
Because he's doing movies and podcasts and things like that. So there was more than just basketball going to L.A.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, when we come back, I'm going to dive quickly into the World Baseball Classic. If you want to get into any situation with the Raiders, we'll get ahead and do that. The number's pretty simple, 702-365-9200. And Robert Turbin's going to join us. He joined me every week this year on my other show. He's going to join us in this window to talk about the Combine, what comes out of that, and everything else. So Robert Turbin will join us coming up next, as we are brought to you by La Casa Cigars. Mike's over there. He redid the place, and the whole place was fine. This is much better. Outdoor patio, front patio, humidors getting filled up with incredible sticks. Anything you want to drink, they got all of our partners behind the bar. Cold beer, great cocktails. It's fantastic. La Casa Cigars at Tivoli Village. All right, everybody, I'm bailing. I will see you tonight and or tomorrow. Thank you for listening today. And we'll keep it going here, man. Thank you. Long weekend, good weekend. Hope everyone did well. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Appreciate you very much.